Hi everyone, my name is Kat, or the Fairy Librarian, and welcome to a new reading vlog. It's been a while since I've vlogged. I had a vlog for last week that I filmed a few clips for, but I didn't like it, so I deleted them. So I didn't vlog last week, even though I planned to. But I'm back this week. It is May 1st. Life is going to be a lot less hectic right now because last week, I was in a play and we performed last week, so it was very busy with that. But now that all happened, which means that I have no more rehearsals and no more performances, so suddenly a lot of free time that I can dedicate to reading if I choose to. So that's great. I am in the middle of 3 books right now. So I'll show you. Those will be my 3 reads for the week. The first 2 are both ebooks. I have Orpheus Builds a Girl, which we see a part of the cover here because for some reason every time I try to read an ebook from the library on this thing, the cover is really zoomed in. I don't know why, but you see a very zoomed in section of the cover of Orpheus Builds a Girl by Parry. This is a gothic sci-fi literary psychological thriller historical retelling of the myth of Orpheus meets Frankenstein. It's a lot of genres blended together, but I'm quite enjoying it. So we have 2 POVs. We have a German doctor who wants to find a way to basically beat death, to preserve life after death, to bring people back to life, if you will. And then we have Gabriela, who is a Cuban immigrant in the United States. And we see the 2 of them at the point where I am, which is 37% in. Their paths haven't crossed yet, but I can see how they will cross. But I won't say that because if it hasn't happened at 37%, I would say that it might be a spoiler. But yeah, from the synopsis, like everything that is mentioned in the synopsis hasn't happened yet. So like the back description of the book hasn't happened yet. So that is still going to happen. I know how it's going to continue, and I'm really excited to get to that part because while I'm enjoying what I'm reading right now, I'm really dying to get to the part that I signed up for when I started the book. So yeah, really excited to continue reading. The thing with this book is it's quite short, like it's under 300 pages, but it's not very compulsively readable. So like I can read a chapter, but then I have to do something else. I can't just sit down for like hours and just read this thing. So that's why it's going a little bit more slowly. But I would like to, if not finish it this week, at least get a decent chunk read of this week. So we're gonna try and do that. The other ebook is 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes, which is a Greek myth retelling, like a Trojan War retelling. I'm really enjoying the narrative structure of it. I like the way that it's told. I like the prose. I like sort of it's like very multi POV, where we almost get like short stories about what happens to these women, with a few POVs that return, um, and it's not always linear because we have these women on the beach where they're gathered, and so then we have Hekabe, who is the Trojan queen. She's like, this person isn't here. I wonder what happened to her. And then we get a chapter that's the story of what happened to this person. I really like the structure of it. And that one is a lot more compulsively readable than this one. So, yeah. That one reads a lot more quickly, but I just haven't been prioritizing it much, which I do plan on doing more this week, and hopefully finish that one as well. And then the third book that I am in the middle of, I barely started it. Like, I read the first chapter. Like, I'm not far into it, but that is Dreaming the Eagle by Manda Scott. This is the first book in the Boudica, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I've heard it both ways. Quartet, which is about Queen Boudica, who is a British warrior queen that led a rebellion against the Romans. This book starts with her childhood. So she's not a queen yet, but she will be. And so, yeah, I'm liking it so far. I like the writing. I've tried reading this last year. I got about halfway through and I didn't hate it. I still liked it, but it just wasn't the right time and I wasn't in the mood, so I put it down. So I'm picking it back up. I still remember a few things. But I also forgot quite a few things. So, yeah, I really like the dream element in it. So it is sort of a magical element, but it's their religion that is presented as if it's real. And I really like that. So, yeah, that is this book. I would like to, I'm not going to finish it this week. There's no way, but I would like to get a decent chunk of the way through because it's chunky. Technically, I've also started a fourth book, which is The Man Who Died Twice, but that just doesn't have as high priority at this moment as the other three because the two ebooks, they have a due date at the library that's slowly approaching, so I would like to be able to finish them before that date comes. And then with Dreaming the Eagle, I would like to read both this and Daughter of the Forest this month, but I think that they're going to have sort of similar vibes, so I don't want to be reading them at the same time. So, and they're both quite chunky, so I want to be able to finish both of this and then start the other one and also be able to finish that, because that is a book I'm reading for book club. So that's why I want to finish this one definitely in time, definitely the first half of the month. But I think that could be doable if I sort of focus on this one and don't get distracted too much by other things. So those are the three books. As I said, I would like to finish 1,000 Ships, which I think would be doable. I would like to get at least halfway through this one. And if I can finish Orpheus Builds a Girl, that would be great. If not, I'm not going to cry about it. Then I'll just finish it next week. But it'd be good if I could finish it. So that is the start of this vlog. I still have to finish or not finish, film my May TBR. So probably do that tomorrow. I actually want to do it tonight as well, but it's getting late and I don't want to be filming now, so I'm gonna do that tomorrow. So yeah, and then maybe read a bit more tonight, or just watch some TV, to be honest, because I really want to watch some TV. So this was the intro to the vlog. I will see you when I have another update. Bye. Alright, so it's Friday and I have an update for you guys. So yesterday evening I read quite a bit of Orpheus Built a Girl. I'm now over halfway through, and the things that are mentioned in the premise are starting to happen now, or have started to happen. And so I'm a lot more hooked right now. I think it's a lot more intriguing. I've gotten to a point where I really had to force myself to put it down, because otherwise I would have stayed up all night to finish this, and I didn't want that because I wanted to sleep this night. Because the past month or so I've had a lot going on, and so like sleep has been sacrificed sometimes. So I'm just now caught up with sleep, like to the point where I can function with like a decent amount of sleep at night. So I don't want to end that already. So I really had to force myself to put it down last night. But I'm really hooked. We sort of see the obsession of this doctor with Luciana. We see the manipulation that he uses on her family to make sure that he can spend time with them and he can continue treating them even after Luciana has indicated, like, no, I don't want this doctor to treat me anymore. I don't want him in my house. I don't want him in my room. She asked her brothers, like, please make sure he stays out of the house. But he knows how to manipulate these brothers into letting him in the house and letting him through and letting him see Luciana. And he knows how to manipulate everyone into just letting him do these things to Luciana that she doesn't want, and to make sure that he can continue to do those. And yeah, it's really hard to read that. And I'm really intrigued with how the story is going to continue. So yeah, I think I might finish this during the weekend. It wouldn't surprise me if I do. So yeah, I'm really liking this book, and I'm really hooked now and really intrigued, and I'm gonna read some more of this on a train later today, but we'll see how far I get during the weekend. And then today I read some of Dreaming the Eagle. I got to chapter 5. I'm pretty happy with my progress. I think this book is divided up into 4 parts. I think I might even be able to finish part 1 tonight, just as where part 1 starts. I don't think this is like, how many pages? This is 60 pages. I don't think that it is unrealistic for me to get there today, which I'm really happy with. there are a lot of things in this that I did not remember. And so it's been really nice to rediscover those. I really like sort of the world building is not the right word because it is historical, but like the culture and the lore and how they have this religious thing with dreams that can predict things, and it is very much represented as if that's real, and I really like that. So I think um, that this could be a really nice transition book if you're a historical fiction reader to get into fantasy, or if you're a fantasy reader to get into historical fiction, because these dreams sort of add like this magical element to it. I still wouldn't call it a fantasy. Um, Maybe like a historical realism, magical realism, I should say. A magical realism, maybe. But I definitely think that historical fiction is definitely the right genre for this. But we do have this magical element in it. But I really like it. I really like the nature and the respect for nature and the harmony with nature that this culture lives with. I don't like I the writing is really nice in some places, but in other places there are just so many short sentences one after the other. And I'm like, please break up the short sentences, because then that way the language becomes a little bit choppy in places, I feel. But that has been like, I think, 2 or 3 times that I had that. But mostly the writing feels really nice and flows really well. I really like Boudica as a main character. She really wants to be a dreamer. Um, like she is a warrior because she has killed someone in battle, which is the prologue. So that makes her officially a warrior. But she wants to be a dreamer, which one doesn't necessarily exclude the other, but she's very nervous that she won't get her dream and that she won't be able to be a dreamer. And so yeah, I think that's a really interesting sort of motivation for her. And I really hope for her that she can get her dream and become the dreamer that she wants to be. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I will continue reading. As I said, I'm gonna I'll get to page 100 definitely today. We're gonna try for the end of part 1. I think it shouldn't be impossible. But I'm really liking how much progress I'm making. I thought it would be slower. So yeah, I'm really happy. I will definitely be rereading both of these today, like this one on the train, because this is quite chunky for on the train, but like at night, like in the evening, I will probably be reading this one. So yeah, that is the update. I will come back when I have more. Bye. Hi, it's Sunday evening, and I got to the 66% mark of Orpheus Builds a Girl, so I'm officially 2/3 of the way through. I thought I would have finished this by now because I was so hooked, but then also it's so disturbing. And it is really heartbreaking to read. So we have this doctor who's just so obsessed with Luciana and this family who has to sort of navigate that and are like both want to do everything to make sure that Luciana gets better and doesn't die from this disease, but also seeing that this doctor is harming her, maybe not physically, but definitely mentally. Like she, Luciana doesn't want him there, which through her actions is pretty clear. But yeah, this doctor is just so manipulative in that regard and keeps doing things that are not okay because he's so delusional about it, and he's so, yeah, delusional is the only word I can think of to describe it. He really thinks that Luciana wants this, or that's at least how he presents it, because it is told in first person, but it's sort of framed as if he's writing a report on his scientific findings. So he could be keeping things from the reader, but I don't get the feeling that that's what he's doing in his scenes in terms of how he perceives Luciana and Luciana's family. I think that he genuinely believes things, which makes it even worse. Like he's so judgmental and refuses to believe that this family loves their daughter or sister, and that he really thinks that he is the only person who cares for her. And he has these big like mental gymnastics to frame all of the actions of the family in a way that fits that narrative. And for the family, it is incredibly heartbreaking because they are having, like, they're seeing what is happening to Luciana, and they can't really do anything about it. And no matter what they're doing the wrong thing. Like, nothing they can do is the right thing in the eyes of this doctor, in the eyes of just the people, and they're always gossiping and talking about them and interpreting their actions wrong, and they know that there's nothing they can do. Like, there's this one moment that the doctor has locked himself with Luciana in Luciana's bedroom and barricaded the door so like they couldn't come in, and he knew that Luciana was just physically not strong enough to go to the door and open the door herself. So she's stuck with him, and this family is stuck outside, and they can't do anything about her. And they have to witness that. And then Luciana dies, which is in the back description. It's part of the premise. So it's not really a spoiler, even though it happens pretty late in the book. Even when she dies, she still isn't at peace and still isn't left alone and still isn't saved from this doctor. And this family keeps losing her over and over and over again. And it's so heartbreaking. And you may have noticed that I keep saying that the situation, even when Luciana's life is heartbreaking for the family, and that's because we don't get Luciana's perspective. We only get the doctor and we get Luciana's sister, but we don't get her. And I think that's really interesting because we have both the doctor and both the sister saying, this is what Luciana thinks, this is what Luciana feels, this is what Luciana wants. But we never hear her say it herself. Um, like, you can tell that, like, her actions align more with the sister's representation than with the doctor's representation, but still, we never really truly hear Luciana herself and what she really thinks and feels and wants. And I think that is a very clever choice from the author and a very interesting choice because her voice and her autonomy and her agency are completely taken away, and her voice is just not heard literally in the narrative. She is like the she's deep into this. She's very involved, obviously, much more than the sister. But still, we only get the sister. We don't get her. And I think that that is also just a heartbreaking thing to think about. That even the narrative is silencing her. And yeah, it's just really hard. Um, and another thing that is quite hard in this is the way the mother reacts to everything. Like the mother has a lot of trauma in her life, clearly, but she's not dealing with it in the best way. We see in like the first part of the book that um, she had now she has two daughters. She has Luciana and Gabriela, who is the POV character, but she used to have a third one, um, Ximena, Ximena, um, who died pretty young, and so she clearly has some trauma from that, um, and she doesn't want another one of her children to die, but in that she's not acting in the right way and she's not doing right for her daughter because she's just enabling the doctor to do what he's doing. And it's heartbreaking to see. And even after Luciana has died, she's still enabling this doctor. And it's really heartbreaking to see how this mother's grief for her daughter and the trauma from her past lets her make these terrible decisions and these really wrong decisions, and how Luciana's siblings, like her sister and her two brothers, they want to help Luciana and do the right thing, but they just aren't able to because they're powerless, and because the little power that they have, their mother doesn't let them help their sister. And so yeah, it's so heartbreaking to read. And yeah, the POV from the doctor is incredibly disturbing, as I said. There have been some racist things directed towards Latina people in this book, in the doctor's POV, but I do think like it does read as if that's the character thinking those things, not the author. Because obviously Luciana and her family are Latina, they're from Cuba. So yeah, be aware that it's in here, but I definitely think that it's the views of my character, not the views of the author. So yeah, I'm gonna continue reading this because my ebook is gonna return itself to the library on Wednesday. So I would like to be able to finish it before then. But yeah, it's a pretty hard read at times. So I'm gonna read some more now, and I will talk to you again later. Bye. Hi. It is now Tuesday evening, and I have some updates. First of all, last night I finished Orpheus Built a Girl. This book is so good, like so good. I highly recommend. I already talked extensively about it in the last clip. So I talked about like the doctor and the things that he did. But then the bit that I read last night, the focus sort of shifted from like the doctor and what he did to society and how they enabled this behavior and even encouraged it, and how no one really cared about the family, and about like no one respected Luciana as a person and respected the dead, and some of them like just exploited them for their own gain. Others, a lot of people sided with the doctor because of his manipulative nature, where he got to play the people. And we see the effect of, in the earlier books, they talk a lot about the gossip that is spreading about this family, and the mother really struggles with that, and she wants it to stop, and then the children are like, but yeah, but who cares, like what these strangers think of us, let them talk. But now we see that like years and years later, yeah, just circling back, and it's really hard to see that, and to see society just be so enabling to these types of predators, and these type of crazy people. And the book made me really angry, and because I could totally see this happening in real life. I mean, aside from like the science that doesn't work, which I don't mind, it's science fiction, like it's fiction. But aside from that aspect, I could totally see this happening in our world. Or if such a thing happens, I could totally see this be the public opinion and the reaction of a lot of people, where people who don't know the situation, don't know what they're talking about, feel the need to get involved in things that are none of their businesses. And yeah, it made me really mad. It's a really good book. I really recommend it. Do check content warnings. There's a lot of them. We have some body horror in it. We have obviously like death of a family member. We have death of a child. We have abortion is also featured in here. Sexual assault, necrophilia, just like lack of consent in so many different ways. Also, the doctor has very racist views, has very misogynistic views, has his initial research was partially in collaboration with the Nazis. So that is something to keep in mind. It's a very heavy book, and there's a lot of heavy stuff in it, but it is really good. And if anything I mentioned sounds interesting and you think you can handle it because it is heavy at times, I do definitely recommend it because I think that the story is very strong. I think it's very well written. It doesn't feel drawn out. It's a relatively short book, and it's like it the pacing of it was really nice as well. I think so many books these days are so drawn out and way too long. I mean, books in the past were too, but like I feel like it is hard to find a book that I feel like has as tight pacing as this one. And this one doesn't feel like it's too long, which it's been a while since I've been able to say it. So I really, really thought this was a great book. The beginning bit took me a little while to get into it. I can see why it was necessary. I can see what the author was trying to do there. But I expected more like the second half of the book going into it. And that's what I wanted from it. And so for that, I didn't appreciate the first half as much as I probably would have. It is a lot slower. It is a lot, yeah, the two POV characters don't meet until like, I think 40% into the book. So keep that in mind. But yeah, I thought this was really excellent. I'm thinking of giving this 5 stars, but I usually like to wait a few days before I rate things and write my review on Goodreads. I'm behind on Goodreads reviews anyway. Need to catch up, but yeah, I thought it was really well done. Then, just actually during the weekend, but I was so wrapped up in Orpheus that I didn't talk about it in my last update. I read more of Dreaming the Eagle. I am a pretty decent chunk into it. My goal for this vlog is to get halfway, and I have 100 pages left to make that goal. This is the halfway point, so like the end of part 2 was my goal. So it's 100 pages. Pages are pretty thin, that's why it looks more than it is. So I'm really happy with that progress. I am really, really enjoying this book. We follow 2 main characters in this one. We have Bon and Boudica, and they're both children. They're part of this tribe, the Akeni. There's a pronunciation guide in the back. Hang on, let me look it up if I can find it. Where is it? There it is. Hang on. Is it not in here? I don't think it's in here. Huh. Then I'm gonna go with my own pronunciation, I think. I'd say Akane, which is this tribe, and Boudica is going to be the queen. Bon is her half brother. They had the same father, the different mother. Boudica is older than Bon. And what I think is really interesting about these two main characters that we're following is they have these like opposite wants and motivations and opposite situations. So we have Boudica, who in the prologue has killed in battle, and so that officially makes her a warrior in this culture, even though she's still a child at that point, but she is a warrior. But she doesn't want that. She wants to be a dreamer, which is in sort of the religion of this culture really important, because dreams tell you about the future, and so dreamers have a lot of prestige, are very important for the society, and she wants to be one. But it doesn't, the dreams won't come to her, and if she has a dream, then it's a warrior's dream, not a dreamer's dream. And so she has to, we see her have to accept the fact that this thing that she's always wanted will probably not happen, and that she is a warrior, which is still a thing to be proud of, and a thing with a lot of prestige as well. And it's not like it's less than, it's just not what she wanted personally. But you can't force the dreams, like you can't force the gods to give you dreams if you don't have them. On the other side, we have Bon, who has had a few dreams, but he really wants to be a warrior, and he wants a chance to prove himself that he can be a warrior, but he doesn't get that chance. And I think that the contrast between those two is very interesting. I really like the cultural elements that we get in this book. I already mentioned it before, but it sort of feels like a fantasy book, because we have these magical dreams, we have this religion of this culture that is presented as if it's real, and I think that makes it very interesting and makes it feel very whimsical at times. There is one scene that I've now read twice, because I already mentioned this, but I tried reading this about a year ago, but I wasn't able to finish it then. So I've read it then and I've read it now. I've read the scene twice, and I still don't know if what happened is real or if it was a dream. And so I think that sort of the blending between that two, or like the blurriness of that line, is very well done in here. I think the writing is very strong. I really like Boudica as a main character. She's brave and responsible, and she knows what's best for her people, and she wants to do that to the best of her ability. But she's also just a child who very early in life has been trusted with a lot of responsibility and a lot of things that she needs to handle and navigate. that she maybe is a bit too young to handle and navigate. And we sort of see that reflection of her having to grow up very fast, but also still being a child deep down. Um, and I think that is very, very well done in here. So yeah, I really like it. I like that because Boudica, who I believe is the same person as Boudica, she's gonna become Boudica, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't know. I haven't read that book, but I assume. Um, she's well known for um, leading this uprising against the Romans, like uniting the different nations to fight back against the Romans. But I really like that the Romans are not like the one big bad that is out there. Like there were inner politics and power struggles and dynamics, and there was so much going on in Britain before the Romans came, and before they came for a second time, because the first time that they went, they weren't able to conquer Britain, and so they went back, and then much later they tried again, and then they succeeded. But that is like only one of the many enemies, and we don't really spend too much time on them. Like they're really not in the forefront of people's mind on a daily basis, because the inner dynamics in Britain itself require much more daily attention, and I really appreciate that. So yeah, I'm quite enjoying this. I'm gonna try to read more of this tomorrow. See if I can get to the end of part 2. So yeah, but I also have something else. My e-reader is over there, and I'm too lazy to get up and get it, so I can't show you. But I said I finished Orpheus, which was an ebook, which is right on time because it's gonna return itself to the library like tomorrow. So I paced that really well. But there's another one that I have started that is gonna be due really soon. Like if I haven't started them, like I keep borrowing stuff that then is due and I haven't read it. Like that's fine. I don't mind that. But if I've started it, I would like to be able to finish it before I lose it. And that is 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes. I started this on a whim because I was taking the train, and I always read an ebook on the train because a physical book is just, an ebook is just like an e-reader is just easier to carry around and more convenient for on the train. So the ebook that I wasn't in the middle of was Orpheus, but I knew this was still like in the early like parts, where I found it really hard to read a huge chunk of it in one go. And I knew that this train ride would take a while, so, and I wasn't in the mood to read that one that day, and I didn't want to read it during that train ride, so I just started this, and I really enjoyed it, but I haven't really read it outside of that. So like I started it on the train ride, and where I got to when I arrived at destination, that's where I am still. So yeah, I really need to get on with it, because what I read I really enjoyed. I do have a few issues with it that I just have with a lot of Greek myth retellings anyway, so I can't really fault it, but I'll talk about that later on. I do really like the structure of it. We have this sort of frame narrative where the Trojan women are gathered on the beach. And I mean, it's not just a frame narrative, like it does matter. But then we have Hekabe or Hecuba, depending on if you want to use the Greek or the Roman name. She like looks around and she's, oh, this person is missing. And then we sort of get almost a flashback from the POV of that person, and see like what happened to them and why they're not on that beach, or like people that are there, or just like not necessarily all directly tying back to that beach, but we sort of get these stories of these different women, almost short story style, which I really like. So yeah, I like it structurally, and the structure made it move pretty fast. Like I get the feeling that I'm moving through it at a nice pace. So I'm really liking that. That one is due next Monday. Next Monday. So I would like to be able to finish it before then. The book is not too long, and as I said, it reads relatively quickly, so I don't think that's possible. But I do need to like put some energy towards that. So I think that Dreaming the Eagle, like those 100 pages, and then other than that, 1,000 Chips is going to be my priority for the rest of this vlog. So those are the updates. I'll see you later. Bye. Hi, it is Thursday morning, and I wanted to wrap up and finish this vlog. So I'll quickly go over what I read. First of all, I finished Orpheus Built a Girl, which I absolutely loved. I've talked extensively about it, so I won't repeat myself, but I thought it was incredible. I highly recommend it. It is a little slow to get going, but it's so worth pushing through. So if what I said earlier in this vlog sounds interesting to you, pick it up. Yeah, I really loved it. Do check content warnings. I mentioned some earlier as well, but I may have missed a few, because it is intense, but it's so good, and it's so worth it. So I finished that. I am probably giving it 5 stars. I haven't read my Goodreads review yet, or written my Goodreads review yet, but I think it'll be a 5 stars, or at least a 4.5. Then I read some of Dreaming the Eagle. I got to page 178. So that is 100 pages away from the end of part 2, which was my goal, which is here. But that's fine. I'm quite enjoying this. I've read the part, like anything I've read of this book in my video I've read before, so it went by relatively quickly, but I like being back in this world because I really like the culture in this, and I do like the characters, and I'm really enjoying what I'm reading right now. And then yesterday I also read a little bit of 1,000 Ships. Not too much. I'm now 22% in. I am liking this. Like the narrative structure is very interesting. Where you sort of almost get these short stories that are interconnected rather than one full like overarching narrative, and I think that that works really well. I do have some issues with it, but I think I'm going to talk about those once I finish the book as part of my final thoughts about it. So I won't say them because there are not issues with this book specifically, but just with Greek retellings in general. And yeah, I'll mention those later. So cliffhanger. But yeah, I am quite enjoying this. It does read fairly quickly for me. The chapters aren't too long either, so it makes it go by pretty fast. So I will continue this, like these two will be continued next week. So yeah, that's the end of the vlog. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you again in another video.